for years, I on paper like had a business that does 8 figures in revenue, like a ton of employees that work for me, hundreds of thousands of followers on LinkedIn, top 50, 100 podcasts in the world. Like you could go through and, big house, you could make all the different things, whatever it is, and still didn't feel happy. I know now that it's not about that stuff. And I have been thinking a lot like this when I was in one of these states, like the word freedom came up to me. And freedom is a simple and very complex word when you think about it. So where do we begin? All you are familiar, because I think most of you have been to one of these events before. That we used to do them weekly, and then for almost a month there were no GTM live events. I spent a month traveling, doing self-reflection, thinking about why I'm here, who can I help, how do I help them, what is fulfilling for me. Also, if I went on a vacation before earlier in my entrepreneurial journey, I would go for 5 days and I would get back and I would feel so far behind, have a full stack calendar, feel stressed out, feel like I would why even take the vacation? Like I'm going to come back and it's going to be so tough. And this time I took a month off and feel ahead. I don't feel stressed at all. It feels blissful. And a lot of things have been changing for me about how I go about like not only these events, but my career and my life and things like that. So first, let's talk about the vacation, because the vacation was dope. So I started the trip in Tulum, and then I went to Sydney, Australia, for a week and a half. Then I visited the Great Barrier Reef. And then after the Great Barrier Reef, New Zealand, 2 different areas of New Zealand. For those of you that like outdoorsy stuff, Queenstown, New Zealand was stellar. Really loved that. Then finished the trip in Fiji for a couple, almost a week. Fiji was also stunning. There's 400 different islands. Fiji makes up as almost close to 400 different islands. Most of them are uninhabited. The main island is fine, but probably not the one that you want to go to. It's all the other smaller ones that surround it. So for anyone that's been thinking about getting over there, I never had been there in my entire life, that whole different area, because I was so scared about the flight. Like, oh, this flight's going to be so long. I'm intimidated by it. But actually, the flight was really easy both ways. So maybe someone's listening or someone on here that gets the encouragement to go try something new and head onto that area of the world, which was really nice. It was late summer, early fall during this time of year. It's reversed because of the side. And then it was also really trippy. On the way back, you cross the international date line. So I lived the whole March 6th, and then we left Fiji at 9:50 p.m. And then on the way back, you cross the international date line, so you land in Los Angeles at 11 a.m. on March 6th. So you literally travel back in time. And so that was also pretty nice. This episode's going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to share I guess a story around something that a while I didn't share with anybody, and then and for a while, and now where I'm at, some of the stuff that's going on, I literally felt like it was impossible. And I also feel like the way that I see the world and my life has been totally inversed and flipped upside down in the past 60 days in the best way possible. And so my objective in this show is to tell people what's going on with me. Some people here listening might be like, what the fuck is this guy on? Or what is he talking about? I don't buy into this. I don't believe this, which is totally cool. And I know people will respond that way, and other people will lean in and be like, wow, I had no idea. I buy into this. This is pretty interesting. I'm sure there'll be people that are in between, healthy skeptics and things like that. So everything is all good. And then create some clarity around what we're going to do with this event, sort of moving forward. So we'll do both of those things. And this will be fun for me because with reflection and some research, I feel like I can put labels and words around some of the things that I've been experiencing, and know that other people feel these things. Other people have studied these things. So beginning in 2020, I would have these things happen to me where the first sign would be my fingertips would start tingling. And then it would feel like there was electricity like running up my veins. And then I would basically like be able to see and go into the future. And it was mostly business related at that point. So I like, when I did the first time, my business was 4 employees. And I was like, in the future, 3 years later, this is what the company looks like. This is the people. This is the type of companies we work with. This is what we do, all this different stuff. And that thing would happen maybe once every 3 or 6 months, like pretty random and pretty sporadic. And it would manifest as a 3 day to 7 day, like incredible high where you get like more done in 3 or 7 days than I would normally in like a year, at least as like a visionary or entrepreneur. And when I look back at that, I was like, oh, this is just what entrepreneurs feel. This is just like what flow state is or something like that. And then for a period of time, 2022 or 23 and some of 24, like I didn't feel much of this at all. And I sort of like forgot about it in some ways. And then it's really started to come back starting in the summer of last year, and has been like rapidly accelerating how frequently it happens, what happens with it, and things like that. And with some research, there's like labels that you can put on it. Some like claircognizance, which is like a deep knowing without any type of like rationalization or reason why. Clairsentience, which is like feeling it or seeing it or hearing those types of things. A big category within clairvoyance. There are like other types of things like feelings and things that go into it. And this all like sort of bubbled up and exploded on February 5th, 2025, where I had one of these like experiences, but the experience like led me to basically like, why am I here? And just to be clear for everybody, these are sober experiences. There are no drugs or anything involved with these experiences. And when you take drugs, you actually get further away from these, just for clarity, because I know people will be thinking that. And it basically led me to like, why am I on this earth? I know now that I'm here to help people that are ready see that they have these types of powers within them, just like I've been able to find them. I know now with clarity that every human has these types of powers inside of them, and they are just blocked by poor habits like drinking alcohol or sitting all day or conditioned limiting beliefs about whether they're not good enough or not worthy or money's hard or any type like that, or deep-seated like traumas and wounds. All these things, all your powers get blocked by those types of things. And people that are ready, that eliminate some of those things, then I believe can help accelerate that process for them, and get to the power. And the reason that I say all this is because I know that over the next 5 to 15 years, there is going to be a massive shift in how humans live and what they do. If you look at what's happening with AI, it is absolutely insane. And it's taking out all of the knowledge work or most of the knowledge work right now. I built a software product over the weekend in like probably 10 hours of work and like very little dev experience. Like, so you have that. And then soon you're going to have AI that does the handwork, construction, manufacturing, farming. Robots will come and do that type of stuff. And so what does that leave? Where does that leave humans? And humans are going to have to go through a massive upgrade. And I know clearly now that humans run on an operating system. And me for a long time and many people just run on Windows 95. And I think now, there are over time, operating systems can evolve and grow. And I think it leaves humans with creativity, like relationships, energy work. There's a lot of other things out there about what humans can do. And I'm excited for that. And just to describe, because like when that happened to me on February 5th, the reason that I like feel so compelled, like nothing else matters to me but showing people how to do this now, is because of my state of being. I feel entirely blissful and peaceful 100% of the time. And trust me, I've lived my entire life feeling anxiety and fear and sometimes scarcity, not always, but definitely sometimes. Have felt lack of satisfaction. I've cared about what other people thought about me. I've cared what people said about me in a Slack channel, which still happens today. And at this point forward, I literally feel no attachment to anything like that. So I am pursuing this mission to help people that are ready. And I don't really know exactly what type of forms those are going to come in yet, but I've had my seeing the future experience, and I know what I'm here to do, and so I'm going to continue to move in that direction. And we'll move into so this event will continue, but will be hosted by Carolyn in the future. Carolyn is also now managing partner of Passetto. And so I become a partner and an owner in the business, but Carolyn will own execution of our strategy, which I also saw in the future, and it's beautiful, and I think it'll be really great. I will continue to produce content, but the content is going to be so much more focused on helping people unlock these powers, basically trust themselves. I'll give a little bit of elaboration. The process overall is one part of it is that people do things that block the powers that so are obvious. Alcohol is the worst one. And so that there's things like that are not easy. I say easy to identify. Let's call it easy to identify, not easy to eliminate. Then there's a mental component. So the way that you think and the way that your brain runs a program based on whatever you think. So something happens to you, your brain subconsciously runs a program about whatever you think internally, that the circumstance is just the idea of what drives your thought to happen, which then causes how you feel and drives how you act, and then creates the result that you have in your life. And it just runs over and over and over again. And so there's a thinking element to it. And then there's, once you get past that level, it's really a eliminating self-doubt and trusting yourself level. And so some people might find that in them. And the easiest example that I can give, and everyone will be able to resonate this at some point in their life, some more than others. You feel something in your stomach, you know something is off, you know why it's off, you know what to do, but you don't do it. Or you try to rationalize it, and you go and you make a spreadsheet around it, and you put a bunch of numbers in there, and then you think over and over, and you go and consult 7 other people to see what they think about it. And you already know the answer, and you're almost like talking yourself out of or delaying the answer that you already need to do. Leave a unhealthy relationship, leave a company that you work for that's no longer serving you, sell a business that you own that is no longer right for you, all the way down to the micro stuff of I don't think that I should be in this setting anymore. I don't love basketball, or I don't love karate anymore, and you know it, but you still stay in it. Any of those things. Every time that you do not trust what you already know and you try to rationalize it, you get further away from your power. And every time you trust it and you act on it and you do it, you rapidly accelerate your progress and the results that you see in your life, and how much more frequently that happens to you and you trust it. And so that's another element. And so for, depending on where you are in the spectrum, some people need to cut out things like negative habits. Some people need to think about how to reprogram. Some people need to have validation and trust about trusting themselves and knowing what they already know. I think all of those can be super powerful. And so this is me manifesting what I'm telling you. I know, I trust myself. I'm doing that. Does it hurt to give up this event that I've literally done more than 500 episodes for? Yeah, it does. Well, some people here might come to whatever thing I do next, and I invite all of you to do that. I would love that. And for the people that are still, and you can do both. You could come to this one that Carolyn's going to talk through about how all the stuff is evolving and the go-to-market strategy and revenue operations in that space. And I'm going to be talking about this other stuff, and you could do both, and you could do all the other stuff that you want to do too. But I know deep down, and I can just how right this is for me. And so it's a bittersweet moment for me at the same time. I've given my all to this stuff for 4 or 5, maybe 5 years now. And so I will continue to own the businesses that impact the space, and I will be continuing to guide entrepreneurs that are doing great work in these areas. But it's a literal, figurative hand of the torch right now, and let other people start moving with it. And so, yeah, thank you. It's and I think that for Charlie just says, just sort of, and congrats on finding clarity. For years, I, on paper, like had a business that does 8 figures in revenue, like a ton of employees that work for me, hundreds of thousands of followers on LinkedIn, top 50, 100 podcasts in the world. Like you could go through and, big house, you could make all the different things, whatever it is, and still didn't feel happy. And it's not, I know now that it's not about that stuff. And I have been thinking a lot like this when I was in one of these states, like the word freedom came up to me. And freedom is a simple and very complex word when you think about it. And I have I had all those things and financial freedom on paper, and didn't have all of the other 9 types of freedom that I've figured out and studied. So if you want, we'll share them here. I've been sharing them because I think it's fascinating and it helps me learn more about it. Okay, so what everyone thinks is freedom is normally financial freedom. That's what the material world teaches you. If I just make more money, and what I found is that it was like I'll feel, good enough or whatever when I make $1 million. Then you get to 1 million, and you don't feel it, and then the goalpost changes to 5 million, and then it doesn't work there, and you move it again to 10, then to 20, and you realize that it's a never-ending hamster wheel that never ends. And so you have financial freedom, and then the other 9 are time freedom. I can do whatever I want with my time, and I'm never on somebody else's time. Social freedom, I only share time and space with people that I want to, that amplify my energy and not drain it. Number 3, creative freedom. I have the freedom to do creative and other projects that interest me at any time, whenever I want. Location freedom. I can be wherever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to submit a request for PTO to go somewhere. I don't need to be in San Francisco because that's where my company's office is. Purpose and mission freedom. I have clarity on why I'm here, my purpose and mission, and can execute that as I wish. Relationship freedom. I have no attachment or expectations to any types of relationships that I'm in. And know that if a relationship no longer serves me, that I have the ability to walk away at any moment. Health freedom. I have freedom with my health to live a great life. I'm not restricted by anything related to my health. And I'm saying this as if I'm you, right? I'm not saying this for me, like as if I'm me. I score myself on 1 to 10 on all of these different areas, and I'm not a 10 in any of them, just to be clear. 10 being the most free. Spiritual freedom, which means I know myself and I trust myself 100% of the time. And then mental freedom, which means that I am free from low quality or conditioned thoughts that trap me or create a negative reality for me. And as you go through that, you can see that there's a lot more to freedom than just having $100,000 in your bank account or whatever number you arbitrarily decide. And that has been, as I've explored that further, that has been wildly empowering for me. And so I'm not sure exactly how I got on that one topic, but that's something that I've been thinking about a lot and encourage a lot of people to think about in depth. Oh yeah, it was because Charlie said on the clarity, right? So I've been thinking, and congrats on the clarity. And so with the clarity of purpose and mission, and this on freedom, I've been able to systematically make major changes where 90 days ago, my time freedom, I would have scored 3 out of 10, which is like pretty close to you're in a jail. And just a couple of months later, I would score it as an 8 or a 9. Like I almost have complete control of my time. And the only reason is because I have the clarity of what I'm doing, and then I have the trust in myself that I already know the answers. And so I think that it's fair to, because it's only going to be a 30-minute episode today because I have a different obligation that's happening. But I think that it's fair to go into questions for a little while, people that are interested in any of these topics or have any questions for me. I would encourage, skepticism, congratulations, questions, literally anything. We have about 5 minutes, and you all have done so much for me and supported me in so many ways that I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. I hope that you all got a lot of value from being here and what I've been able to share and learn. And I know that I got so much back, and so this was a mutually beneficial, interaction with each and every one of you, and that means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you as well.
Well, there's, I'm sure you're not following in the chat, Chris, but a lot of appreciation for you and what you've been doing and congratulatory messages. So that's awesome. Thanks everybody for dropping that in. A couple of questions. I'm going to unmute Casper in a sec, but first, how did this all happen? Like in the last 5 minutes, any guidance for people here on how to go about like researching this for themselves or go about seeking clarity on their own?
Perfect. Yeah. So this was a journey over a long period of time for me. And now in hindsight, I realized that at the beginning, I thought I was special. Like I have this thing that happens to me. But now with clarity and reflection, I know that every human is capable of this when they remove the blocks. And so my next venture is focused on helping all humans go through this process with the foundational framework of all humans run on an operating system. Most people run at the base level operating system of three-dimensional conditioning and materialism and limiting beliefs. And then as you have a process to systematically limit those, you can upgrade your operating system. And there are clear biometrics that you can use to measure where you sit. And there are clear self-reported assessments that you're able to measure to know where you sit in this spectrum. And so my new venture will be focused on helping all humans do this with a systematic process of going from the beginning to the end. Some of the things at a high level that have really worked for me is a intentional, detailed, consistent journaling routine. I know a lot of people that journal without intention. And so it's not just about doing, and there's a lot of people that go to the gym, right? And then don't go to the gym with intention. So it's not just about doing the thing, it's about doing the thing well. I've been talking about that for a while. But a journaling routine to identify conditioned beliefs and limiting beliefs that no longer serve you and that you didn't give to yourself, it was given to you, and being able to identify them, which is a introspective process that then you convert into empowering beliefs. So taking a limiting belief, replacing it with an empowering belief, which is usually almost the inverse, and then completely reinforcing and reprogramming your brain, reprogramming the limiting beliefs out of you. Is one of the key steps. Another step is eliminating, and this sort of comes from replacing the beliefs about yourself as a byproduct, but you could do them in concert, is eliminating habits and things that block you from power. So I mentioned alcohol being the number one, but there are many others. I'm sure it's no issue for anybody here listening to this podcast, but many hard drugs block you from your power. Having limiting beliefs, being in low energy relationships and social situations, being in large chaotic environments with a lot of people that have low energy, sitting all day, being too sedentary, not having any new direct experiences and getting stuck in a routine, not having time for solitude and silence and self-reflection, too much screen time. I could go on for a long time of these lists of habits, and there's always a medium to it, but there's some where it's nothing. Like when I cut out alcohol completely is when I started getting this rapid acceleration. And so that's, take it for what it is, but that's what happened to me. And also the people that you surround yourself with can be a huge driver to whether you feel this or not. And so those are some steps to get from one level to a couple other levels. And then, things are moving so fast for me right now that I think that I'll have actual products and things for some of this. And this is not going to be like a B2B, agency, $20,000 a month. This will be affordable, accessible type of things. So those would be the first couple of steps. I just did a podcast that had a complete breakdown of the journaling routine, which will go live on the podcast pretty soon. The podcast will get a new name, just FYI. B2B Revenue Vitals no longer suits this topic, so we will be just giving it a new name. And so the podcast will have a complete library of my evolution as a first-time entrepreneur at State of Demand Gen, and then sort of this expansion into B2B Revenue Vitals for another couple of years, and now this third part, which I'm going to call Encoded. And I call it encoded because all humans are encoded with powers waiting to be unlocked. We got time for maybe one more, Carolyn?
Honestly, no additional questions.
Perfect.
In the chat. A lot of just continued thanks for sharing. Thanks for building this journey. Yeah, this feels spiritual. Namaste is what Charlie said.
Namaste. Yeah, I want to yeah, and I used to think this is all woo-woo stuff, right? Like, oh, this is impossible. I don't believe this. These are for the like weird people out there that do stuff. But now I know for sure that like because I've experienced it, like every human deserves to experience what I have felt the past like 60 days completely. And it was a process. It was great as I got up to it, but once I hit this like barrier, and after once you they call it it's an operating system upgrade. That's what it's viewed as. And once you make an upgrade, your default frequency, the frequency you operate, is like that forever. And it has fundamentally changed my life and how I go about every day and how I interact with people and the decisions that I make. And I think every human deserves to at least know what's possible, and then they can make their own choice about whether or not it's right for them to pursue. And so again, probably not the episode you all expected when you showed up here, huh? But yeah, I just want to say thank you again for everybody, the people that are listening afterwards as well. Thank you so much for everything. And I will still be posting on LinkedIn. I'll still be posting content. I'm still going to be doing stuff on Instagram. I'm still going to be supporting a lot of the business owners that I've been working with, like Carolyn and Megan Bowen and others, Eric at Hatch and others. And so I'll still be around, but some of the content might be a little bit different. For those of you that are interested, I invite you. And for those of you that aren't, I totally understand. And we all have certain things that we're focused on at certain different times. So yeah, just I think the best thing to do is just say thank you all, and hope to see you all again soon. And there'll be more details coming out about what's next.